Hi, I'm Paula from Happy Yoga Wales, and this is a yin yoga practice for stress and anxiety. So in this practice, we are going to be focusing a little bit more on the upper body, which is where we tend to hold a little bit of stress and tension when we're feeling a little bit anxious. So this is suitable for absolutely everybody, all levels. You don't need any props, but if you've got a block and a strap handy, then they might be useful. And we are going to begin today lying on our backs. So come on down. If you do have a block, you're going to place the block right underneath the shoulder blades so that the base of the shoulder blades is just on the bottom of the block. And this is just going to give us a little bit of an opening through the back. And you can bring the soles of the feet together and then just go ahead and lie down. It might take a little bit of wiggling about. And if you feel like your head is just dangling here, you can go ahead and pop a cushion or a pillow underneath you. And then the hands can either rest by the sides or you can bring them to the belly and the chest. So open up through the shoulders, the chest, and into the hips here. So if it feels okay, just go ahead and close the eyes. Just take a moment to settle in. And if you've got your hand on your belly and the other one on the chest, just noticing how your body rises and falls with each inhale and exhale. Taking a little scan of the body here, noticing any areas of tension, just anything else, any sensation that draws your attention to it today. And seeing if we can adopt this observer mindset where we're just noticing without any judgment. And whatever's there, just seeing it, acknowledging it, and moving on. Just breathing gently in and out of the nose if we can here for a more calming breath. And as we move through our practice today, we'll be holding our poses for about a minute or two. And that's a good length of time for us to be able to get into the connective tissues in our yin practice and to really allow the body to relax. And we're going to work with this theme of kindness. And a teacher of mine, Anna Pilar-Cruz, she said that the mind is kind. Whatever is going on with you, the mind is kind. And this phrase, it really stuck with me. And this idea of the mind is always trying to protect us. So even though it doesn't feel sometimes that it's doing us a favour, it really is. It's trying to protect us and keep us safe. So knowing that your mind is always being kind to you, let's see if we can give some of that kindness to ourselves and to our bodies today. Just taking about 5 more breaths here. Maybe you choose to take the arms out wide here for our last few breaths, just for a little bit more opening into the chest and shoulders. And then on your next inhale, taking a big breath in, fill all the way up. Feel the belly expand, the rib cage expand in all directions. And just gently part the lips and let it sigh out. Lovely. So to come on out of this pose, first bring the hands either side of the thighs and just draw the knees together and just notice any sensation there in the inner thighs, in the hips. And then slowly roll onto one side so that we can remove that block. And we're going to come back down, so just moving the block out of the way. We're going to come back down and take a little twist. So drawing your right knee in towards the chest, give it a good squeeze here. So really squeeze and tight, feel that compression in the front of the hip. And this leg, the other leg, the left leg, can stay lengthened. It can stay out long, or you can have a little bend in the knee if that's more comfortable. And we're just going to draw this right leg all the way across the body to come into a twist here. And if the knee is lifted, if it doesn't reach the floor, that's fine. You can go ahead and grab your block. I can't reach mine from here. And just pop it underneath the knee so that you've got a bit of support here. And then bringing the shoulder blades back underneath you if they've moved. See if we can keep this right shoulder down. So again, opening through the chest, through the whole length of the spine. Either gazing up at the ceiling or over that right shoulder. And just breathing steadily here. So we're looking to really relax in our yin practice. And when the body's relaxed, that's when these connective tissues, the fascia, just starts to open up all by itself. And we don't need to force or push. So it really is the perfect practice to learn to be kind to our bodies. Just taking a few more breaths here, encouraging that hip to melt away from the right side of the rib cage. And then when you're ready, taking a big inhale and gently sigh it out. And then again, if you want to use the hands to help bring this leg back in, draw the belly button in as you come through centre. And then bring both knees in towards the chest. Just briefly here, notice the difference from one side to the other. Maybe take some little circles with the knees. And then when you're ready, keep the left leg drawn in, give it a good squeeze. The right leg can extend any amount, but really looking for this compression in the front of the left hip. And noticing any differences here from one side to the other. And again, just adopting this observer mindset. So not judging, not thinking, oh, the other side was better than this side. Just seeing it for what it is and then moving on. So then drawing this left leg all the way across. And again, if you've got your block, maybe you want to place it here. If you don't have a block, a cushion, a pillow works just as well. And seeing if we can keep the shoulder blades flat on the floor and then extending so that our left shoulder is on the mat. And you can bend the elbow here if that feels more comfortable. Gazing up at the ceiling or gazing over that left shoulder. But all the while just trying to encourage this length between the left rib cage and the left hip. Trying to get some space in the side body. And in our last few breaths here, just take a little scan of the body. And just see if there's any way you can relax a little bit more. Any muscles you could release. Any way you can soften. And then on your next inhale, fill all the way up, feel the breath go all the way down into the belly. And exhale. Again, supporting this left knee and drawing the belly button in, come all the way back through center. Lefts and rights aren't my strong point. Bring the feet down to the mat so they're directly underneath the knees. And then just take some windscreen wipers here. So walk the feet out as wide as your mat so the toes are turned out to the side. Hands can be wherever they want to be. And just let the knees gently come from one side to the other. Notice all these sensations in the hips, maybe in the low back, or even into the legs. There's no right or wrong here. Everyone's bodies are different, so you might feel this in a completely different way to the person next to you and to me. Whatever you're feeling is absolutely fine. Okay, so then pause on one side and then come back into this little ball and then start to make your way up to a seat. I'm just going to take a few neck circles here, or neck stretches. So if you want to sit up on a block here to raise the hips, that just allows us to extend through the spine a little bit more so the spine can be nice and straight. Crossing the legs, however is comfortable for you, you can cross at the shins or whatever feels good. Sit nice and tall, so we're stacking the shoulders directly above the hips. And just take a breath here. Hands just resting wherever feels comfortable. Reach a little taller through the crown of the head. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, just let the right ear come down to the right shoulder. If that feels okay, just drawing the chin in and gazing down towards the right knee. You notice how I'm thinking about my rights and lefts more now. And then keep going so the chin comes down all the way to the chest. Go really slow and easy here. And then gazing over towards the left knee. Make sure you're still sitting tall, you haven't rounded through the upper back. And then just lifting slightly so you're looking straight ahead and that left ear is coming down towards the left shoulder. Breathing into the right side of the neck. And then lift the head back towards center. Lovely. So we're going to come into our shoelace pose. So you're going to bring your right foot towards your left hip. So the thighs facing straight ahead. You can stay sitting on your block here. I prefer to sit on the floor for this one, but see what feels right for you. And then you're going to bring your left leg all the way over the top and seeing if we can stack the knees above each other. So they might be more like this, that's absolutely fine. Wherever you are sitting up nice and tall, maybe you can pick the hips up a little bit and wiggle those knees on top of each other. There should be no pain in the knees at all here. So if you're feeling any twinging sensation in the knees, then just back off. You can even just sit in that cross-legged position here instead. So wherever you are, staying here, reaching tall through the crown of the head, and then your right arm is going to come all the way up. This is where your strap might come in handy. So you can reach for the sky and then let that elbow bend so that you're reaching down the back. And you can stay here. Or if you want to go for a little bit more of a stretch through the arms and the shoulders, holding on to the strap with your right hand, just let it drop down the back. So we're trying to keep this upper arm as close as we can to the head. And then the left arm comes out, thumb to the floor, reach through the fingertips and then bring that hand all the way behind you, bending the elbow until you can find the strap. And just pausing here, we're only going to be here for about a minute. So keeping the shoulders relaxed, the legs relaxed, even though we're in this slightly challenging pose. Just seeing where we can find some softness. Whenever the mind starts to wander, bring that attention back to the breath and back to sensations in the body. Knowing that it's completely normal for the mind to be busy and to wander. Last few breaths here. And if your arms are bound behind the back, just release the lower arm first. And then bring the top arm back down. Keep your strap handy for the other side. And just lean back onto the fingertips to release the legs. Maybe feeling some sensation, some pulsing like I am after that shoelace pose. And just pausing here for a moment. Maybe you take some windscreen wipers again, if that feels nice. Or you might prefer to just stay in stillness. And then we'll take that on the other side. So bring in the left foot this time in towards the right hip. Sit up nice and tall. See if we can get this thigh to face straight ahead. If it's more out to the outside, absolutely fine. And then the right foot comes over the top. Again, picking where feels right for you. Being really mindful of your own body. So for me, I like to keep the feet tucked in quite close to my hips. But I know some people prefer to take them out closer to parallel, so they're in line with the edge of your mat. And this just feels a little bit nicer for me on my knees. And then sit nice and tall. If you're taking the arm stretch, shoulder stretch, then reach tall with the left arm, bend into the elbow, holding that strap behind you. You might not need the strap here. And then reaching the right arm away, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Bring that arm in and then bend in the elbow until you can reach your strap. And remember, we want the body to be really relaxed here, so there's no pressure to, or no expectation to reach the hands or to get a deep stretch. We just want to feel that first sensation of stretch. Somewhere we can be in stillness, comfortably. And again, bringing that attention to the breath wherever you feel it. Breathing steadily in and out of the nose. Asking yourself, where can you soften, where can you release just that little bit more, even in this challenging pose. And then when you're ready, letting go of your strap, if you've got one, and bringing that right arm out. And then slowly releasing the left arm, feeling all those little sensations along the way. Move your strap out of the way, you won't need that again. Just chuck that over there. And then leaning back onto the fingertips to release the legs. Ha. Again, maybe take some windscreen wipers. And then we're going to come into our puppy pose. So coming onto all fours. And then stacking the hips above the knees. Now the hips are going to stay above the knees all the way through this pose. So if you haven't done this before, it can be a little bit challenging. So draw the low belly in and then take the hands forwards and as wide as your mat. So make sure those hips haven't come forwards here. And then keeping a little bit of tension, so a little bit of engagement in the low belly. Bring maybe the forehead down to the mat. If you're very open through the shoulders, then you might even bring your nose, your chin, or your chest to the mat, but that's not for me today. You could even bring yourself a block to bring the floor a little bit closer to you, which feels quite nice actually. So just picking the version that feels good for you. So the aim here is to let the upper back sink down. So feel that nice opening through the upper back and into the front of the shoulders. And again, taking some nice steady breaths here. And just checking in with all those little muscles in the face, relaxing the forehead, the temples, the cheeks, the jaw, the tongue in the mouth. These are places where we can hold tension sometimes. And then bringing your attention to that space right behind the heart, so right in the centre of the upper back. Can you relax there a little bit more and visualise it just melting forwards? I'm just taking a few more breaths here. And let's take a big breath in all together. When you're ready, inhaling. And just part the lips and sigh it out. And then from here, we're just going to slide our way forwards into our Sphinx pose. So we're coming down onto our bellies and lengthening all the way back through the legs. Bring the elbows in so they're a little bit narrower than your shoulders. And the hands can be down, palms down on the floor or palms up if that feels better. And just find that opening through the collarbones and gazing down at the mat. So again, we're focusing on the upper back here. So letting that back of the heart space really melt forwards. The pubic bones pressing down gently into the mat. And we're not going to be here too long in our Sphinx pose today, just a few more breaths. And then when you're ready, take a big breath in and exhale, sigh it out. And as you do, bring the hands together so the elbows come out wide and just rest your forehead down here for a moment. And I always like to do this little counter pose after Sphinx, just slide in my right knee out to the side, away from the body and up. So we're getting a bonus little stretch through the front of the hips. And allowing the upper back to release. And then slide that knee back down, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Taking your time, sliding the left knee up and out. This kind of half frog pose. Feeling the breath here as we're lying on our bellies. Noticing how different it feels when we're in this position. And again, sliding that leg all the way back down to meet the right. And then just bring the hands underneath the shoulders and gently press your way all the way up. And just take a moment here on hands and knees, maybe just moving the hips side to side, noticing any shifts, any changes in the body and the energy. And then when you're ready, we're just going to come down onto our backs. So making your way onto your back, however is comfortable for you. And if you've got your block handy, we're going to take a supported bridge pose here. So your block is going to go underneath your hips. So first we're going to bring the feet under the knees and then press down into the heels as we slide the block underneath the sacrum. So we want it to be on that big flat bone at the base of the pelvis. So we don't want it to be in the lower back like this. And the block can be on any height. I'm just going to take it easy here and keep it on a nice low height. And then you can stay here and just feel supported by the block. You can use a cushion or a bolster if you don't have a block at home, or even just a nice thick book. And then settle in here. If you want to go a little bit further, you can straighten through the legs one at a time. But move slowly here, so there's no rush to get anywhere. There is no end goal, there is no finish line. And as you do that, if you feel any sensation in the low back, any twinging or tweaking, then just go ahead and bend the knees again one at a time, nice and slowly. So you don't want any sensation here in the low back at all. Just this gentle opening through the whole front side of the body. I'm just taking about 10 breaths here. And for our last few breaths, if you want a little bit more, you can always take the arms up overhead. So when we're stressed, anxious, we tend to round forwards and close in on ourselves. So this is a real nice pose to do, to counter that, to open up, expand, and let the breath come back in. And just let the arms and legs be really heavy, supported and grounded. And then go ahead and take a big breath in and sigh it out. So if the arms were overhead, bring them down first. And then one at a time, rebend the knees so that the feet come back underneath the knees. And then when they're there, pressing into the heels one more time. Just lift the hips slightly so that you can move your block out of the way. And then just pause here. Again, just noticing, maybe bringing the hands one at a time to the belly, into the chest. Lifting long through the back of the neck, so the chin's just drawn in slightly. And you can stay here, or if you want to, you can straighten through the legs and come into our traditional Shavasana. But today, keep this connection to the body, so keep the hands on the torso. And just feel the breath, maybe feel your heartbeat. And as you do this, just thank yourself for being kind to your body. And thank your mind for being kind to you. Even though sometimes we might not believe it, it is always being kind and looking out for us. And just taking a few moments here. And just become aware of the feeling of your body on the floor, on the mats. Of any other physical sensations. Maybe you can feel your heart beating in your chest. Slowly increasing the breath, taking bigger breaths in. And slow, easy exhales. And when you're ready, bending one knee at a time. Rolling onto one side. And making your way up to a seat. And just roll the shoulders back here. If the eyes are still closed, slowly blink them open, just gazing down. Bring the hands to heart center. Place the thumbs right against the chest here again, maybe feeling the heartbeat. Thank you so much for joining me. I'd love to hear what you think of this practice, so leave me a comment below. And if there's anyone you think might benefit from this practice, then please feel free to share. And you can always join me online as well, live each week. I do pay what you can classes, so you can find the link in the bio. And of course, remember to like, that's that way, and subscribe, that's that way. Namaste.